How is everybody today? And in this video, we are going to be talking about Adventurine and all the things you possibly need to build or go ahead and grind for him so that you can use him on day one and you can start using him with some of his best teammates or get his relics right or get his light cone ready, all that different type of stuff. We're going to be talking about all of this in this video. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a sub, a like, and a comment and let me know if you're going to be pulling for Adventurine or you're waiting for someone else in a future patch or even a rerun. And if you are looking for a rerun, which rerun are you looking forward to? So let's go ahead and start talking about Adventurine. And as we know, Adventurine is going to be a preservation unit that's giving shields, has basically infinite shields with this follow-up attack, and also has an attacking ultimate plus follow-up attack. So yeah, he's in a pretty weird situation when it comes to him being a character in the preservation class, because now he's doing all of it: buffing, debuffing, shielding, and off-turn damage and on-turn damage. A lot of really cool stuff that comes with them, and he's going to be built a little bit differently, which we have a lot of really cool options to talk about when it comes to the characters in this game. So right now we need to look at one thing specifically, and that is going to be the light cone. And Hook is going to be my stand-in for Adventurine for now because she does have my relics. But for the light cone that we're going to be talking about when it comes to Adventurine's best, we actually have a lot of really good options to run with them if you want to do it on the free-to-play side. Now, there are two that are going to be especially good on them, one that's going to be okay on them, and then the rest, they are just preservation light cones. They help him out but not his team out, or they help him in his shield or his defense, but they don't help him with his attack, which is the main thing you also want to make note of, because if he is going to be attacking with this ultimate, if he is going to be attacking with this follow-up, you want it to hit as hard as you possibly can when it comes to that point. So the very best light cone when it comes to the free-to-play version of it is Destiny Threads Woven. This can be bought in the MOC shop, and this gives 12% effect rest, and in Superimposition 5 it gives 20%, which I'm going to show it at Superimposition 5 because yes, you can buy this from the MOC shop. So you get 20% effect rest, and for every 100 defense that the wearer has, you end up getting 1.2% extra damage, up to a max of 48% extra damage. And this overall is a really great light cone for him, because this is not only going to help him with his effect rest, making it so that he's almost infinitely not able to get CC'd, but so that he's also in to increase his follow-up attack damage, his basic attack damage, and also his ultimate damage. So this is a really great light cone for this. And another light cone that can work is the battle pass light cone, which is This Is Me. This one is going to be increasing your defense by 16%, and whenever you use your ultimate, which that's where a good amount of his damage comes from, you are going to be able to buff it by your defense. So this is a really nice thing to have if you don't have the MOC light cone, you don't have the shards for some reason, then I guess you can use the battle pass light cone. And if you're not going to use the battle pass light cone, you can end up using day one of My New Life if you have this one, because this one will also increase your defense and lower all type res by all of the allies, which is going to help with the tanking of the damage that any of these enemies are going to throw out. So these are some good light cones. I do really recommend the Destiny Threads Woven just because it gives a lot more for him. It gives him the effect rest that he would like. It gives him a damage boost for his follow-up, his ultimate, his basic attack, all really good stuff. You can go trend in the universal market if you want him to be debuffing the crap out of the enemies if they so happen to hit Adventurine, which is going to help someone out like Dr. Ratio and help someone out like Acheron, where they already have good synergy together because he's able to apply the unnerved debuff on his ultimate, which is really cool to have. Not 100% the best thing in the world because he doesn't taunt himself, but for the chance that Adventurine does get hit, which a lot of these new enemies do hit AoE now, this is a pretty good light cone to consider if you're not going to be using Destiny Threads Woven or day one of My New Life or This Is Me. At the current moment, I kind of don't see any reason to run any of these other preservation light cones when it comes to, you know, the signature versus what these would have. The only one I was looking at was possibly a Moment of Victory, just because it does give you the defense and you do get more defense when you're attacked, which would be really nice for his shields and also his damage. But other than that, that's pretty much it for the light cones in all honesty. Now going into the relics for Adventurine, this is where it gets a little bit tricky because there is a lot of different builds you can go for when it comes to the relics that you can throw on Adventurine, and also the main stats. There are different ways to build them as well, because you can go more of the DPS route, or you can go on the shield bot route, or you can go the SP positive route. There's just a lot of different ways to build them depending on the playstyle you want to give your Adventurine. So of course, talking about the first few sets to talk about when it comes to using Adventurine, I think the most universal set that most people are going to be running will be the two-piece follow-up set, giving you the follow-up damage dealt buff and also the Night of Purity Palace buff, which is going to give you a 15% defense buff on a two-piece. So most likely, most people are going to be running these two specifically on the characters that they are having to build, which is Adventurine. And rightfully so, you're making your follow-ups hurt more, which is something you're going to be doing constantly. And your defense being up is not only buffing up your damage, but also buffing up the shield that you're going to be giving out to the entire team. So this is a good two-piece to give. If you want to make him more shield defensive and more reliant on his shields, then you might want to run 4-piece of the Knight set, just because you are going to be getting a higher shield with more damage that can be absorbed by 20% if you rock the 4-piece. And if you want more damage, then you could also go Pioneer, depending on certain factors. Pioneer is going to be good for the 2-piece as well. Remember, you are going to be playing Adventurine with most characters that are going to be applying debuffs, one being Acheron or one being Dr. Ratio and Topaz, because these synergize very well with Adventurine's kit. Adventurine really loves follow-up attack characters like Ratio, like Topaz. They apply their debuffs on top of them, and that's going to help Adventurine out with not only allowing his shield to reproc very quick and his follow-up happen very fast, but you're also able to take use of Pioneer 4-piece if you want to go the more damaging route. And this is only if you are going to be rocking Adventurine with a fat ton of debuffers, and he could debuff himself, which is his ultimate. And if you get a little something extra, you might also want to get the 4-piece Pioneer. So to sum it all up, in all honesty, you do Knight of Purity Palace 2-piece with the follow-up set 2-piece if you are going to go around his general route of how to build him. And this is just going to give him more follow-up attack damage and more defense. If you want to make him more shield reliant, then you do 4-piece Knight of Palace. If you want to be more DPS reliant, Pioneer is going to be a really good one for him as well. And now to go towards the main stats for the relics, I am playing around, which I have no idea how I want to build them yet until we test them out. But we're looking at his relics. I am going to be giving him, I got to talk about the planars too, which we can go ahead and talk about as well. I am going to be going 4-piece Pioneer and also Broken Keel. And these are a couple of planars that you can use with Adventurine as well. Broken Keel is going to be absolutely amazing because every single character, no matter what, can proc it under Adventurine's shield, because he does give 50% effect rest to all allies when it comes to having a level 10 talent. Pretty sure it's like around the 40 to 30 range. If you have it to level 8, I'm pretty sure it's probably around 40. And this is going to be enough to give everyone a Broken Keel and to be able to activate it. So if you were to run supports or other characters with Broken Keel by chance, you get an automatic 10% crit damage for your whole entire team, and that's a really good thing to run. If you want to go a more offensive route rather than supporting your team, you also could go for Inner Self Sorrow, because not only will this give you some crit rate, this also gives you the damage buff for your ultimate, which is a good amount of your damage, and also your follow-ups, which is also a good amount of your damage. So Inner Self Sorrow can work 100%, or you can go the more supportive route with Broken Keel. Now, the ways you want to build them in terms of the main stats, you have a bunch of different options. Again, like I said, right now I'm trying to build Adventurine more of a full-on DPS while also applying the shields that he would love to have, and this is my process. While he is a sustainer, I want him to hit hard, and I want his shields to be crazy. That's what I want my Adventurine to do. I'm going to play around with it. It might not be the best build, but to me, I think that's going to be a super fun build. So that's why I'm going to rock it the way I am, which is a crit rate body piece, defense boots, defense orb, and a defense rope. Now, if you want it to be a more supportive Adventurine with him being SP positive, because he will, with his follow-up attacks happening every 7 points, you get a reapply with his follow-up attack, and then that's going to allow the shields to keep stacking as time goes on, and even more so when you're playing with someone like Adventurine, Topaz, and all those other characters. So if you have that being done, he's going to be Omega skill point positive, basically never needing to scale, something similar to Luocha. So if you want to make him more, you want to make him generate more skill points, you would want to throw on some speed boots on him with a defense orb, and then an energy regen rope, or maybe a defense rope, depending on if you want beefier shields or if you want to spam your ultimate, which is going to be some damage and also allow you to reproc the, blind bet points, which can make a follow-up happen a lot more often, giving you another shield, or just to make you do a little bit more damage every so often with the energy regen rope. So there are a couple builds you can go. I'm gonna go ahead and summarize it again so that if someone got confused, I have it right there for you. DPS build is going to be one of the crits, defense, in my honest opinion. It won't be as SP positive you will want to. He's not going to be doing any skill points most likely, because he has so much defense applying those shields and doing so much damage because he does skill off a defense. But for me personally, I think that's worth, having the damage to do with Adventurine, and also applying some indestructible shields with going triple defense. Looks like it's going to be super fun. And like I said, if he's stocked up on damage, if he's stocked up on defense, he kind of never needs to use his skill point. So he's not going to be as skill point positive on my team, but he will be doing the damage for sure. But if you want a more supportive one, you will go something like defense chest. You would also have a speed boost, and then you would have a defense orb, and then you would have energy regen rope. That's the more supportive Adventurine. I already said the relics and the planars, and now to go forward and talk about the teammates that are going to be with Adventurine. And there's actually a lot of them that are going to be really good with them and also help out a lot when it comes to being with a lot of these characters. One of these characters that do work with Adventurine for sure is going to be someone like Acheron. Now, a lot of people are probably thinking, how? And it's because his ultimate does give a debuff every time it happens. So if you are running the more supportive Adventurine, you can go ahead and spam your ultimate, get that debuff off, and helping out someone like Acheron. There are other characters that do better, but that doesn't mean they don't work with Acheron. Anybody that can apply debuffs and allow it to happen off turn or on turn is going to help out Acheron no matter what. Not the best synergy, but the very best synergy for sure is going to be someone like Topaz, and is going to be someone like Dr. Ratio. These characters are going to be the best in slot team for Adventurine, because if you don't remember, he does have a trace where whenever he does a follow-up attack, or whenever someone else does a follow-up attack, he gets a blind bet point. And if you can have someone like Topaz, who all their attacks are follow-up attacks, and not Adventurine, but Ratio, who's also able to guarantee follow-up attacks, you're getting 3 stacks before you even get hit. If one enemy does an AoE attack, you're already getting your follow-up attack back. That is a super strong thing to give, especially if you have a fast Ratio and a fast Topaz, and even coupling the fact that you might have REHOO on the team. Yeah, you're going to be doing some damage with Adventurine and the other follow-up attack characters. But to forget about the follow-up attack characters for a quick second, we do have some buffs for some characters that were left in the dust for a very long time. And although it's very cope, we might see a resurrection and some other stuff that we might see. Now, one person that is not concluded in this is just another good synergy, not the thing I was talking about in a second ago, is having Clara. She is going to be a little bit buffed by having Adventurine as well, because not only does she have the follow-up attacks, which allow her to do the, beam, and it's going to be absolutely nasty damage, you also going to be able to help out Adventurine get his blind bet points, and you don't have to worry about Clara taking damage, which is the main thing. That she's not like Blade, where she wants to lose HP. She just needs to get hit. So someone like Clara is going to be absolutely amazing with Adventurine, and is going to do a lot of damage and reap a lot of benefits with being with her on the team. And then the last two that I want to talk about for sure are the characters of where you at. You're hiding somewhere. My boy Yanqing. Yanqing is going to make a special appearance with Adventurine coming out, because now we have a more reliable shield maker and a character who's able to apply shields infinitely, make strong enough shields, hopefully, to the point where Yanqing is never going to lose his soul still sing. So is it going to be the point where now Yanqing is going to be able to do the damage, be able to stay in his form long enough so that at the point where he gets hit, it doesn't matter, and he gets to do the damage that he needs to do? He also has the ability to also use follow-up attacks in his kit innately, which is by chance. It does suck that that's the case, but the fact that he has follow-up attacks, he really loves shields, and now we have a proper shielder who also loves people doing follow-up attacks. They might have a really amazing synergy, and I 100% can't wait to showcase this character when the time comes. Which, make sure to leave a sub, a like, all that type of stuff if you are excited for that. And lastly, the other character that has great synergy with this character is going to be Arlen as well, because as we may know, Arlen doesn't necessarily like to have healing on the team, because he wants to stay at the lowest health as he possibly can to get his max damage boost. And although it is very cope to hope that Arlen will be somehow a top tier pick, he will also benefit as well for all the Arlen mains out there, for a character that has a reapplyable shield, allowing it so that you don't have to worry about getting one shot, because you'll always get a shield applied with this skill. You don't have to wait for an ultimate like Gepard. It's just a really nice thing to have. Now, Gepard, a lot of people are going to be thinking about, is he replaced now that Adventurine's out? In many ways, Adventurine just flats out win against Gepard, but when it comes to one certain team, I think Gepard still reigns supreme, and that's just going to be Acheron's team, because he does have the taunt. With having the taunt innately in his kit, He also has it to where he's able to rock the Trend of the Universal Market, and that's going to give Acheron a lot more stacks than just the one ultimate that Adventurine's giving. So Gepard doesn't lose his full value at the current moment. He's still a really great shielder. He's still a really good sustain. He has a lot of aspects to his kit that does allow him to do some really cool stuff with other teammates, and it's cool that everyone has their niche for the most part. If there's any big winners or any big MVP players when it comes to Adventurine's kit and how he works and who are the characters you want to build, it's definitely going to be Topaz and Ratio. This is going to be by far one of the coolest teams by far to date, and probably one of the most destructive. With Dr. Ratio and Numby already doing enormous amounts of damage by themselves, you can only imagine someone else who also does follow-up attacks, boosting up Numby. Then Numby boosts up the blind bet points. Then maybe Ratio comes out with the sub DPS ult, and then Numby comes back. Adventurine there's some crazy stuff that could possibly happen, and I can't wait to showcase that off. So if you're excited, let me know down in the comments below. Also leave a sub, also leave a like. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end. I think that's pretty much it when it comes to all the things you want to talk about for Adventurine. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.